What are you guys gassing about?
Just talking about the birds.
Birding.
Nice.
In the repair shop today,
Okay, I'm just going to stand up to pour this to get a better angle.
Brenton's brassed off with his fix.
That hasn't worked at all. The brass is set before it got round the mould.
While Steve steers a precise course.
1, 2. I need to turn it 13 times so that it's setting up the angle of the mirror correctly. It's getting very tight and I'm just slightly worried.
Restoring a navigational instrument.
If it's not accurate, you could be hundreds of miles out.
The day's first restoration falls to music box maestro Steve Kember. Marie Ayears has travelled from Northamptonshire with a small but distinguished memento.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good.
Nice to meet you both.
Likewise. What's in the bag?
We have a little Grenadier Guard doll. It's supposed to be musical, and he's rather worse for wear at the moment.
Here's a bit.
My grandmother bought him as a souvenir for the Queen's coronation in 1953.
Okay.
And my dad was a Grenadier Guard, and he was actually in Westminster Abbey during the coronation.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Because they're the guards that stand and they don't really move, do they?
And that's right, they guard Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle, and you have to be super tall. My dad was 6'5.5" tall.
Wow, that's tall.
Obviously, when you're a little girl and you've got a huge father,
Yeah.
it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And he could just scoop me up and take me in his arms and twirl me round. And my dad was always saying, you know, once a Gren, always a Gren.
Yeah.
He was one of, you know, several pieces of memorabilia that my grandmother bought because they were so proud that my father was in the Abbey for the coronation.
Do you remember it looking a bit better than this?
Oh, well, yes. So he's supposed to wind up and play Auld Lang Syne, but unfortunately that mechanism's jammed or something.
So was there one day when he was playing and one day when he wasn't?
I might have overwound him or something. When I was a child at my grandmother's house, I used to play with him all the time. And my dad gave it to me after my grandmother died. And he asked me to look after it. So I was immensely proud that he was trusting me with it because it's obviously meant such a lot to my grandmother.
Okay.
Just wish I'd done a bit of a better job. He's looking very, very tatty at the moment.
Yeah, it looks a bit.
And unfortunately, his arm has become detached.
Okay.
I feel I've let myself down and I've let my dad down.
Okay. All right. Well, you brought him here.
Yes.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. Yes.
So hopefully Steve can get it playing again. Yeah.
Hope so.
Apart from it to play, what else would you like to have?
Well, it would be a great tribute to my dad to get him looking fit to go on parade again.
Okay. And you can see that you're so proud of your dad.
Oh,
Look at you.
absolutely, yes.
Thank you for bringing this in. You take care now.
Will do.
Bye
Take
then.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, he's an interesting little fellow. If I can just get the base off. So there he is. So there we are, we got the mechanism out. But the first thing I want to do is to take the comb off. We can see we've got some missing teeth here. Now the comb and the cylinder are a matched pair. So if we put a different comb on there that is not tuned to the same pitch, then we'll get musical gibberish. The pins on the cylinder lift the teeth on the comb and the teeth resonate and that gives us the music. The fact they're missing, the notes won't play. So I've got to think of a solution there. And at the moment, I'm not entirely sure what it is. From this point on, I'm going to dismantle the mechanism and clean the congealed oil off, re-lubricate it, check for any wear. So, I think Amanda and Julia have drawn the short straw here because this poor little chap, he looks as though he's seen better days. He's going to need some help. Hello.
Hiya. Hiya.
Can you help?
I'm sure we can. Let's have a look. Oh, wasn't he sweet?
The remit is make him look smart so he can go on parade.
Leave it with us.
Yeah.
We'll get him ready for duty. How about that?
Excellent. I look forward to it.
No
Thanks
problem.
then.
Hop to.
Next, a restoration with a nautical twist.
How are your sea legs, Steve?
Well, they're a bit shaky, but they're okay.
And the last time you went on a boat?
About a year ago.
Really? What, your own yacht?
Canoe.
Oh, well, we'll chat about that after.
Alice Ellingham and Mum June are hoping mechanics expert Steve Fletcher can make a precious keepsake seaworthy again.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good,
Fine,
thanks.
thank you.
So can we take a look at what's inside the box?
Yes. So this is my dad's navigational sextant.
OK. What does that actually do?
It's to position ships in the middle of the ocean before GPS.
Wow.
Bob bought this in 1950 and he's kept it ever since.
So Bob is your husband and your dad?
Yes.
Yeah?
We lost Dad 10 years ago, actually, this year.
Yeah.
But this is really the only thing we have of his career as an officer in the Merchant Navy.
He's a captain.
Did he ever show you how it worked or show you anything about it?
He was always at sea.
Oh,
He was
right.
away 8 months of the year.
Wow.
When he came home, we didn't talk about the sextant.
Right.
He did love the sea. He was a very good seaman.
So where did he get this love for going on the sea?
At age 11, the civil servants came to his school and asked if anyone wanted to go to sea. And he put his hand up.
So he was really keen then?
I don't think he knew what he was putting his hand for at the time.
OK.
No, they said you'd see the world, and he thought at
Right.
11 that sounded good.
Yeah.
So he was at sea school
OK.
until he was 16. And he went as a cadet on the cargo ships.
Wow.
And then tankers. And then he was on the passenger ships, which is where he met Mum until he retired as captain.
So how did you meet Bob?
But in those days, the captain and the officers went down and had dinner at the table with passengers, and I met Bob on the dance floor. I said, "I've heard you're single, you'll do."
Oh.
I'd had a lot of champagne.
OK, that'll explain it. Was he a good dancer?
Nobody looked lovely in his uniform.
See, there you go. That's the way to do it. Eh?
You must be very proud of your dad.
I am. I think to go from age 11 through sea school
Yeah.
and to have such a career.
Do you remember how this originally looked? Because at the moment it looks a bit tarnished.
No, I don't remember ever seeing it until Dad was retired and home.
OK.
There might be some sort of seawater has made it a bit tarnished as
think?
well.
I think the dial at the bottom,
Yeah.
I don't think that works at the moment.
Right.
But it's
Right.
missing a piece of wood, and then this hinge has actually broken off a chunk of the wood. Would like to learn to use it, so it would be great to take it somewhere and
use it.
And use it.
But
Wow.
you've never done one of these before?
I've never held one in my hands
that's
before.
great.
But I think they're beautiful things. I've always wanted to work on one, so I'm thrilled that you've brought this in.
I can't wait to see, one, what Steve does with it, and if he's able to work it.
I've got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing it.
You take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
In a world before GPS, sextants were essential for navigation. Using a telescope and mirrors, they allow sailors to measure the angle between the sun, moon or stars and the horizon. Information that can be used to help plot a ship's position.
This is a beautifully made piece of equipment. I just love all different sorts of instruments like this, so nothing's really badly seized up. actually, it's all just really, really loose. This gauge here is quite blackened. I'll have to experiment to see if I can clean this up without being too aggressive. This box looks as if it's been dropped, so I'm going to have to give that some to fix. Right, I'm just going to set to now and strip the whole thing down bit by bit. I can't wait to get stuck into cleaning it all up.
Whilst Amanda and Julie smarten the Grenadier Guards' worn uniform, Steve has the musical parts ready for a deep clean.
One of my favourite bits of equipment, this. The ultrasonic tank shakes the debris out from all the nooks and crannies within the delicate parts of the mechanism. It does such a lovely job in a harmless way, but noisy too. And off we go. There, so that's good. I'll give them a little rinse before I inspect further. So it's all beautifully clean, tarnish free, grease free, and I'm ready for assembly.
I'm going to try using a spring to secure this little doll's arms. Now the trick I've got to have here now is getting the spring the right length that there'll be enough tension to hold the arms in place.
The fabric that this jacket is made of has a coating on it, and you can see it used to be really, really vibrant red. So I'm just using a mixture of PVA and acrylic paint, and I'm going to paint on the areas where the coating has come off and it's completely transparent. All guardsmen should look their very best at all times, and we want him to be ready to go back on duty. So it's important that we get this right.
It's very fiddly. I think that's better. And I think the jacket will help to hold them in place. Look.
Oh, look at him.
So I'm rebuilding the mechanism. Now I'll wind him up and see if it goes. So it's spinning quite freely now, as it should do, but we're not really out of the woods yet because we've got this horrid comb problem. But what I have got is this. A friend of mine's got a museum that supplied me with this comb, and this one, according to the manufacturer's archives, the comb that is matched with this cylinder. So we've got the new comb fitted. You compare this with the damaged comb. You can see the teeth on the comb are similar sizes, the combs are similar size, the codes apparently match, so I'm hoping for a smart rendition of Auld Lang Syne. Well, the music it's producing is actually musical gibberish, and the archives are clearly wrong, so this part of the restoration is an utter failure, which is very disappointing and means that I have to come up with another plan.
Next, a challenge for woodwork expert Will Kirk. This unusual-looking piece belongs to Rohan Gunatillake from Glasgow.
Hello there.
Hi there.
This is yours, I presume?
It is. It's a chest from Sri Lanka, which was originally in my grandmother's house on my dad's side. When she died, it was the only piece of furniture that my dad bought from his mother's house. So it obviously meant a lot to him. And then when he died in 2013, we brought it to Glasgow, where I live.
What's your earliest memory of this?
For me, this symbolises a lot of connection with the Sri Lankan part of my family, really. When we visited my grandmother's house as young children, I have sort of memories from around 1984, 86. It was just another world, you know, in the middle of the Sri Lankan countryside with rubber trees around, paddy fields, water buffalo. I remember one time the water buffalo came far too close to the house than my grandmother wanted, and her sort of scaring them away with a broom. And one of the jobs, actually, that me and my sisters would have would be collecting water buffalo dung, which had been dried, and then that be used as fuel.
That's amazing.
But it really was those trips that really cemented the Sri Lankan-ness of me and my sisters. And this is the piece that I really remembered in that house.
It almost looks like two pieces of furniture put together.
I think that's what it is. I think the bottom bit looks a bit like a Dutch-era chest. So in Sri Lanka, that means sort of mid-1800s.
Right.
But I think this top bit looks a bit older, because, you know, over the centuries, Dutch, Portuguese, British travelled to Sri Lanka, sort of colonised it, and then stuff that they brought over became reused, obviously, there. Yeah. So, you know, as a kid, it was a bit of a treasure chest.
Yeah.
You know, because in those days, this was a way of storing valuables.
But you're missing, so there are a few loose
there's
pieces here?
Yeah, so it's not all there. There's obviously pieces which have fallen off. There's like a sort of...
That's not supposed to do that.
That's not a feature. And pieces missing as well. And so there's this rosette, which used to sit here.
Right.
That's snapped off. And the front, there's a really beautiful bit of metal with a peacock on one side, but not on the other.
It would be quite nice to have this back in, so it all sort of lines up.
But still to absolutely retain its character and to feel like it's an old thing, full of stories, full of different things. So I think being Sri Lanka is like that. It's a complicated, beautiful, incredible place. So I think there's a bit of a reflection of that.
It's really nice. I can't wait to get stuck in.
Great, thanks, Will.
But I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
It's a lovely piece of furniture. However, there are a few bits that are missing and have started to pop off. A few of these outer bits, like the moulding here, are missing a section on the front there, so that needs to be replaced. Now, I can definitely look at the woodwork, but I might have a word and see if Brenton can lend a hand and maybe help, I don't know, cast a new handle or something like that, and hopefully give me another peacock for the front. I don't want this looking brand new. We really want to kind of keep a lot of that charm. So I'm going to give this a light clean with a mild detergent. Once I've done that, then I can look at gluing some of these loose pieces of wood back on.
As Steve navigates his way around the sextant's multiple components, he's enlisted the help of David Burville to make its case shipshape once again.
Well, the sextant box is in a really sad state. This piece is completely missing. I've managed to find a piece of wood which matches the grain of the original box. So what I've done is I've actually cut out a piece. This damage has basically followed the grain or a fault line in the wood. So if I can mimic that, it means that the repair won't be quite as obvious as if I got a square cut. I want this to look as natural as possible. So now I've got my line, I can actually start to cut and dig away at this and then leave a nice flat surface for that to sit in.
This gauge is one of the most visible parts of the whole sextant, and it's got to look really good. This is cream of tartar, which is a powder that's used in baking, but we also use it in clock making for cleaning up silver dials, and I'm hoping it's going to clean this up beautifully. This is actually going to be quite a mammoth job, getting it to the way that I want it to look. But it's quite enjoyable. You can get absorbed in it, just doing these little jobs one at a time, putting the effort into making it look so fabulous. That is looking absolutely lovely.
That's the damaged area now all cut out, shaped, levelled, and I've got the patch, and that should fit in. It looks a little bit proud of the surface at the moment, so once it's glued in place, then I can actually plane that down level with the original surface. I can then French polish the box and sort out the brass work. Once that's done, get it back to Steve.
When I was taking everything apart, I kept all the screws and parts in the right place altogether, so it makes it easier for putting it back together again. I'm making sure that everything's really quite tight. It should be much more accurate than it was before, because everything was slightly loose, and if it's not accurate in navigation, you could be hundreds of miles out. This is one of the reflector mirrors, and this screw here, I took a note of how many turns I need to set it up. So 1, 2. I need to turn it 13 times so that it's setting up the angle of the mirror correctly. It's getting very tight, and I'm just slightly worried. 12, 13. So I can now pop that on. Right, that's the first reflector on, and it's looking absolutely superb. I've got a lot more to put together, and I can't wait to see how David's getting on with the case as well.
After a failed first attempt to get the Grenadier Guard doll playing again, Steve has come up with a new plan.
Well, I've been looking at these various combs, and I'm optimistic that I've actually found something that's going to do the job. This one has got the same reference number on it. This is the original comb, and you can see that the number on there, 1301 and 1301, it could be a 7, but I hope it's a 1301, and I hope that this is going to solve the problem. Just got to line it up. Right. Here we go. Look at that. That is such a relief. I'm so pleased. Good.
Steve? You want to come and get him?
Yeah. Let's have a look. Oh, crikey. He looks absolutely marvellous. You've done a very good job. I'm matching him up to his music box now.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
This musical guard doll is a reminder of a much-loved father who served as a grenadier at the Queen's coronation.
We need to stand up straight for this.
Yep, chest out, shoulders back.
Yeah.
No slouch.
Today, Marie has returned, hoping her precious heirloom is now fit for inspection.
Marie, hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm very excited. My heart's pounding.
So this little guy means quite a lot to you, doesn't he?
A great deal, yeah. And I hadn't kept my promise to my dad to look after him, so
Okay.
I hope you've helped me do that.
God bless you. Go on, Steve.
Oh, OK, are you ready?
OK. Oh, my giddy aunt. Look at him. Oh, he does look so much smarter, doesn't he? Superb. That's what my dad would say. Absolutely superb. Oh, he does look much better. So much better. And his arm's back on.
Yes.
Oh, well done with that.
Ladies did a fantastic
thank
job.
you very much, ladies. Yeah.
You're really welcome.
Very, very, very grateful. And does he play?
Do you want to give it a try?
Have a go. It's been a while since you've done that.
Yeah, a long while. You really would never forget, but... Sorry. I promised myself I wouldn't do this. Oh, heck. You know, over time, your memories go a little bit fuzzy, a little bit out of focus.
Yeah.
I just brought everything back into focus. It's all those great times I had with my dad and the pride that my dad had in being a grenadier and relief that I can keep my promise to look after it.
I'm so glad we did it then.
Yeah, so am I. He looks absolutely great and just, as a guardsman should be.
I hope you enjoy him.
Oh, I most certainly will. Thank you so, so much, honestly.
Pleasure.
You're welcome.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
ladies.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Oh, there he goes.
He's full of energy.
Auld Lang Syne.
When I hear that music playing and see the guardsman doll, it just immediately took me back to my grandma's house. The memories are just so precious because my grandparents have been gone for such a long time and so has my dad. But to hear that tune just brings everything flooding back.
With the metalwork on the Sri Lankan chest in need of attention, Will has sought help from Brenton.
Little birdie said that you were looking for me.
Perfect timing, yes. Birds, very much the theme. I'm missing half a peacock on the left side of that plate and a little bit of a wing. Is there any way you could replicate that out of brass for me?
Yeah, I can do that.
As easy as that.
That's easy. That's really easy.
Something more challenging.
OK.
I have one brass draw pull.
OK.
Is there any way that you could cast that, make me another one?
All I can say is I'll give it a go. I'll try for you.
Nice one, mate. Cheers, buddy.
I've never, ever cast anything as big as this before, so I'm a little bit worried that I might not be able to do it, but there's only one way of finding out, and that's to give it a go. So I'm going to heat some brass up, and once it's molten, I'm going to pour it into the mould, which I'm making at the moment, and when it cools down, I'll have a replica handle. And it's important that the sand is compressed and that there's no gaps in it to get an accurate mould. I'm going to put some sand into here before I place it down because this is hollow. Right, I'm just going to put some plaster of Paris on here to enable the two halves of the mould to separate. I can start to fill the top half of it with sand. Okay. Just giving it a little wiggle. There we go, that's fine. So now I'm going to make a hole. This is where the molten brass comes into the mould and then hopefully flows around the handle. I'm going to heat up some brass, pour it in there, see what happens. And get this really, really hot so that it doesn't set before it gets to the bottom of the mould, which would be a disaster. Okay, I'm just going to stand up to pour this to get a better angle. Just let that cool down a bit, and then we'll take it out and see whether we've got a handle in there. That hasn't worked at all. The brass is set before it got round the mould. We've got half a handle, so I need to try again. I think I can do this. So next time I'm going to heat the mould up a little bit to stop the brass cooling down so quickly.
Lovely. Well, that's been glued and nailed down now, and I mean that board on the top there was once quite warped, but now it's really pulled it down onto the rest of the framework. The final bit of woodwork that I need to do is glue and clamp this bit of carving back in place.
I've had 6 attempts now to cast this handle, and I keep ending up with an air bubble in it. And I've got quite a good brass handle with a little hole in it. So I'm making a brass patch to repair the hole. And by the time that's soldered and filed and polished, nobody will be any the wiser. That's soldered beautifully all the way around there. I've now got to file all these rough marks off, and then I can give that a polish, and hopefully it will look exactly the same as the original handle. I've taken a photograph of the decoration on the box. I'm going to stick this photograph, which I printed, onto some brass and cut round to make a copy of it, and we'll have 2 birds exactly the same. So I've got a piercing saw, which is a very fine saw. Bingo. That's the bird cut out, and I've got to make 1 more wing for the other bird, and then I can give them back to Will.
Also on the home straight, Steve with the navigational sextant.
Just going to pop the telescope in now, and that's the final bit, and it's all just come up the way that I was hoping. It's absolutely lovely.
One finished box.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Can't see the join at all.
It's on the back.
Well, I can only just see it. That's amazing. And it looks so good. Thank you so much.
So do you actually know how to work it yet?
No, but Mark does. Yeah, so hopefully Mark will be able to help me on that.
I'll leave it with you.
Thank you so much. I knew you'd do a good job.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
This nautical instrument belonged to a captain who chose a life at sea at just 11 years old. Today, his wife June and daughter Alice have returned, hopeful that the sextant is back in good order.
Hello.
Hello.
How have you been?
We're good, thanks.
Fine, thank you.
I am so excited to show you this because I've so enjoyed doing it. So I can't wait any longer.
Oh, I wasn't going to say wow, but...
That's amazing. Just the boxes.
I mean, look at it.
Stunning.
I mean, it's the same box.
It is.
Can I open it?
Yeah, yeah.
It just doesn't look the same. That's
It's beautiful.
incredible.
It's beautiful.
Look at that. You can really imagine Dad using it, but holding it and knowing that Dad held this is quite incredible.
I don't even know how to hold it.
Would you like to learn how to use this now?
That would be great.
Marvellous.
Mark, do you fancy giving us a hand?
Would love to.
OK, let's take it outside.
Definitely.
I'm using my cheap and nasty one. I feel a little bit pathetic with this. OK, first of all, locate the correct filter. And then when you've got that, you find your horizontal line, which generally would normally be the sea.
OK.
Now, this is the fun part. With the index mirror, locate the position of the sun, and then what you're actually doing is bringing that image of the sun down to the horizon.
OK.
And when you've got it sitting on the horizon, then you use the vernier here, which gives you the very minor adjustment. Read off minutes and seconds, and you've got it.
That easy?
Well, the principle is there are some calculations you add. Technically, that will actually tell you your latitude on the planet. That's it.
Yes, right. I've got it in here. It's just come out there.
But it's as simple as that.
Amazing.
It is, actually. It's quite sort of magical, isn't it?
As a child, I knew he was at sea. I knew he was a captain. But we didn't really know what he did at sea. So learning how to use the sextant was a real connection with Dad.
So now you've got a rough idea.
Yeah.
You can take it home, have a go with it, and work it out, I'm sure.
Fine-tune it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm just really thrilled to have the sextant in a working condition and to be able to have it on display and remember that it's being part of my dad's career.
We've really enjoyed this, so thank you so much for bringing it along.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Actually beautiful. You can't use any other word. It was beautiful. I think my husband will be delighted.
Well, I've finished polishing up the chest, and Brenton has actually come up trumps with the brasswork. Not bad at all. You can barely tell which is the original and which is the new one. Right, I need to screw those in place now.
For Rohan, the chest is a treasured reminder of his Sri Lankan heritage and time spent in the country with his grandparents.
Rohan.
Hey, Will, good to see you again.
Nice to have you back in the barn.
Good to be here.
How have you been?
Yeah, but sort of, you know, you sort of know the chest by its absence. For me, it's always been a symbol of my father and his family and my memories of those houses in Sri Lanka.
Shall we have a look?
I guess, yeah.
I guess, come on.
Oh, wow. Look at the shine on that. The colour's amazing. Can I have a... Yeah, can I have a... Oh, you've done the crest. Oh, that's amazing. That's whole again.
Brenton replaced the missing peacock, and
Yes.
he also made you another handle.
That's amazing. This doesn't come with it just feels much stronger as well. And the rosette. I don't know what magic you've done here, but it's really special. Thank you. Something I'd like to do is for everyone in the family to put something in that is important to them. That sort of treasure chest idea, or place that have things which have important memories to us, we can keep in here.
A family treasure chest.
A family treasure chest, yeah, and then hopefully that can start a tradition for how it's used. Well, thank you, Will. Just so excited to have it back home soon.
Pleasure. It was lovely to see you again, and I will get this wrapped up and shipped over to you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye. The chest feels so alive. It's got an energy to it which it didn't have before. It just transports me back to that very different kind of lifestyle that my parents grew up in and my grandparents had in rural Sri Lanka, and it's really cool to be able to do that.